everyone, welcome to my channel Dr. Deepa Dhake's NEET Biology, and we all are here for the discussion and clearing doubts on your different topics for our ongoing NEET crash course series. Upcoming exam is NEET 2020. Now from today we will begin with a new chapter, that is the morphology of flowering plant. But before that अब हम अपने क्विज सेशन के तरफ आते हैं. फर्स्ट क्विज को कंप्लीट करते हैं एंड देन वी कंटिन्यू विद द टॉपिक दैट फॉर टुडे सेशन आई सिलेक्ट स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ रूट एंड मॉडिफिकेशन ऑफ रूट, स्टेम मॉडिफिकेशन, लीफ मॉडिफिकेशन as well as the different topics whatever we study in the structure of leaf. But first स्टार्ट करते हैं हम क्विज सेशन. सो फर्स्ट मैं आपको कल जो क्वेश्चंस आप लोगों से पूछे थे उनके आंसर्स प्रोवाइड करूंगी एंड देन अगेन टुडे आई आस्क द 3 more questions and then we start our session. So yesterday first question आपका था a marine cartilaginous fish which produces a electric current. So 4 options provide थे, in that the answer correct answer is torpedo, इलेक्ट्रिक रेज प्रोड्यूस करते हैं. द सेकेंड क्वेश्चन आपका था रिलेटेड विद द कॉर्डेटा दैट ऑल कॉर्डेट पोजेस. उसमें फोर्थ ऑप्शन है आपका डी ऑप्शन दैट द एक्सियल स्केलेटल रॉड ऑफ नोटोकॉर्ड इज अ प्रॉपर्टी ऑफ ऑल कॉर्डेट. एंड थर्ड क्वेश्चन, आई थिंक थर्ड क्वेश्चन सभी से बना होगा बट अभी तक कमेंट किसी ने नहीं किया है, तो या तो मुझे ये लगेगा कि आप पढ़ नहीं रहे हैं या फिर आप इंटरेस्ट नहीं ले रहे हैं पढ़ाई में. Out of these two things, one thing is there. So the third question, the coelom derived from blastocele. So answer आप याद रखिए, for that answer is pseudocoelom. That is the correct answer for this question. Now for today's quiz again 3 questions are there. So first question for today's quiz is which of the following animal is not viviparous? Options are A elephant, B platypus, C whale and D is flying fox or bat. The second question, fish used in biological control of mosquito. The same question is also comes in the another way that which among the following is a larvivorous fish. So for that the first option is eel, second is carp, third C option is catfish and D is a gambusia. And then the question third. For third question, which of the following belongs to same phylum? So here you go through the options. Option A earthworm, pinworm and tapeworm. B option prawn, scorpion, locusta. C option sponge, sea anemone, starfish. And D is plasmodium, amoeba and mosquito. So this is all these 3 questions for today's quiz. And now we will come towards our lecture session. So today, as I already told, we will begin with the morphology of plant. So now let's connect with morphology on my channel. Start with morphology of plant. So first we see what is morphology. Morphology is the branch of science in which we study about the external features of the plant. So here we mainly discuss about the plant morphology, and you from your previous classes knows that the plant body is divided into roots, stem, leaves, flowers, fruits and seeds. So here one by one we discuss all the parts and their modification in plants. So first we discuss about the root. Now what is root? Root you know again very well. Root is a positive geotropic part. It is underground part and mainly it is responsible for the absorption of water and mineral from soil, as well as it provide anchorage or mechanical support to the plant. So when we come towards the root types, there are 3 types of root. Basically taproot, fibrous root and adventitious root. Now you recall the structure of embryo. The embryo has 2 parts, hypocotyle and epicotyle. The hypocotyle region of embryonal axis will give the radicle and that radicle is responsible for the formation of root. So simply you remember in embryonal origin root is developed from the radical part, and the root which is developed from radicle, those roots are mainly taproot and fibrous root. So here you remember that when we study about the 3 roots types of roots, so taproot as well as fibrous roots both are developed from the radicle of the embryo, but the adventitious root is the root which is developed other than radicle, that means except to radicle, any another part of the plant is responsible responsible for the development of root, then the root is said to be adventitious root. Now the taproot, you see, taproot is predominantly present in dicot and it is developed from a radicle. When radicle is developed, so first it develop into the prominent primary root, and this primary root will give rise a secondary and tertiary branches. So in taproot, one thing you remember, this prominent primary root is always be present, and along with secondary and tertiary branches, this system is called as taproot system. Secondly, first we discuss about the modifications of taproot, and then we come towards the fibrous root and adventitious root. When we study about the modifications of taproot, so modification basically for what purpose modifications are take place, that you remember. First, the modifications are take place for food storage as well as for the assimilatory function. The modification for food storage in taproot is predominantly take place in its primary root, and for the food storage, taproot show the following these four modification. The first modification is conical root, which is commonly present in carrot, and the root due to storage of food in carrot appear as a cone shape or pyramid shape, cone like shape appear hota hai. That's why the root is called as conical root. Okay, now in fusiform root, fusiform means bulbous type of structure is appear, somewhat cylindrical structure. So this fusiform roots are present in radish. Again, this is a modification for food storage. These two we use in our day-to-day life. Now the napiform root, you remember very well example part of these roots. The napiform root, in napiform root, base of the root is circular and highly broad, and suddenly the apex is tapering towards narrow or tapering in very narrow end. So that kind of roots are called as napiform. Remember the example for napiform root, that is the turnip. And then the tuberous root. Tuberous root means when during the storage of food, when the root become a tuber-like structure, then the root is called as tuberous root. In Mirabilis jalapa, Mirabilis mentioned only here, Mirabilis jalapa, or commonly it is called 4 o'clock plant. So Mirabilis show the presence of tuberous root. So these are the four modification of food storage. Now the secondary and tertiary branches of taproot also show sometimes modification, and these modifications are mainly take place at the time of assimilatory function. So in assimilatory function, sometimes the branches of taproots in Rhizophora, this modification predominantly, you remember, the branches of taproot undergoes in modification in Rhizophora. Rhizophora, you remember, it is a holophytic plant, and predominantly it is growing in the coastal areas where the salinity of soil is very high, and due to high percentages of salinity or salt concentration, the oxygen level of the soil is very low, and therefore the roots get modified, and that modified root are called as respiratory roots. So in Rhizophora, the branches of taproots are modified for respiration, so they are called respiratory root. One important thing you remember for Rhizophora, the respiratory roots are positively phototropic, or you can say they are negatively geotropic, because these roots comes out of the soil. And secondly, roots are also called as pneumatophores. Over these pneumatophores, small pores are there. These pores are called as pneumatothores, and pneumatothores are modified lenticels which responsible for the gaseous exchange or respiration. So this is all about the modification of taproot. Now we come towards the fibrous root. Fibrous root, you remember, they are predominantly present in monocot plant. Secondly, in fibrous root, the primary root is developed from radicle, but the primary root is not persistent. This primary root immediate after development divided into a large number of fibers, and that's why the root is said to be fibrous root. One of the example only according to NCERT strictly, we follow the example for fibrous root, only one example in the form of diagram provided, that is the asparagus. In asparagus, you remember, the fibers get modified into tuber-like structure, and again the fibrous root is modified into tuberous root, mainly for the storage of food. Now we come towards the adventitious root. Now what is adventitious root? Is it clear to all that the root which is developed other than radicle, from node, from leaf, from internode when the root is developed. Then adventitious root, most of the time money plant you observe at your home. So in money plant आप appear करते हैं, the roots are appear to be developed from the stem. So money plant, maize, sugar cane, a number of examples we observe where these roots are present. Now how these roots get modified? So again you remember these roots, adventitious root, predominantly modified for the support or they modified for the food storage. When we study about the modification for support, so mechanical support के लिए यहाँ पे 2 modification है, prop roots और pillar root, and second is tilt root. Example again important here, prop root या pillar root. बनियन ट्री को अपने सराउंडिंग्स में आपने ऑब्जर्व किया है, और अगर ऑब्जर्व नहीं किया है तो वन टाइम यू ऑब्जर्व any one of the banyan tree. So in banyan tree you observe the large number of hanging roots from the horizontal branches. Again for objective you remember the prop roots or pillar roots are developed from the older horizontal branches of the tree and they are moved towards downward. So they are also called as hanging root because the tree show the thick canopy, and to provide that mechanical support to canopy, the banyan tree show the presence of prop root or pillar root. After that the second type of modification is stilt root. Stilt root अगर आप स्टडी कर रहे हैं तो ऑब्जेक्टिव पर्पस के लिए ओरिजिन के साइड से याद रखिए, because in adventitious root only the question is asked for the origin. So for your upcoming NEET examination you remember the stilt root are common example for the stilt root is sugarcane and maize, and the stilt roots are developed from the lower nodes of the stem. So this part is important for stilt root, that the origins of stilt root you remember stilt root कहाँ से develop होंगे, they get developed from the lower nodes of the stem, that is sugarcane, maize, pandanus also आप appear करते हैं examples में. And now we come towards the tuberous root modification. So when adventitious root modify into tuberous structure, so that modification is again mainly for the storage of food. Recently this exam question is asked in your NEET exams, last year paper solve करिए. So over there you observe the modification sweet potato में. So sweet potato you remember sweet potato is a modification of, so sweet potato is a modification of adventitious tuberous root. So this much you remember for the modifications of root. Now we come towards the zonation of root. Zonation means how the root is divided into different zones. So when we come towards the zonation of root, so basically 3 zones are provided here, and whenever we study the zonation we always study from the region of apex towards the region of the base. So opposite direction में आप study करते हैं, whereas the root is always grow towards the downward direction. First देखिए one structure protective cap is there, that is called root cap. Root cap thimble shaped structure है, that you remember, and it responsible for providing protection to the zone of division, or it is also called as meristematic zone. So first you remember root cap. Now we come towards the zonation. So at the apex of root meristematic zone is there. The meristematic zone you remember regularly undergoes in mitosis division and responsible for the production of new cell. Therefore this zone is also called as zone of division. The chromosome number in the cells of this zone is always be diploid. After that the cells in zone of elongation, the second zone is zone of elongation. The cells are undergoes in elongation, so cells become enlarged, show the cytoplasm and somewhat large size of nucleus. So this zone is called as zone of elongation, responsible for increasing the length of root. And then the zone of elongation is followed by zone of maturation. Zone of maturation means the zone of differentiation where the tissue formation is appear, and secondly this is also called as root hair zone because this is the one and only zone from where the epiblema gave rise the roots. The rate of respiration is maximum, so rate of respiration is always maximum in zone of maturation. Secondly, the acidic pH of soil is appear in which zone, so that also you remember the zone of maturation or differentiation zone show the acidic pH of the soil. So this much thing you remember in root. And then now we come towards the modification stem and its modification. Come towards the structure and modification of stem. So let's begin with stem. Stem आप जैसे जानते हैं, stem is a aerial part of the plant. it is divided into nodes and internodes, and node is a part of stem from where the leaves and new branches are produced. Stem mainly responsible for the process of photosynthesis, but in addition to photosynthesis, at the same time it responsible for the storage of food, as well as you remember it take part in pollination, or you can remember as vegetative reproduction. So when we study about the stem, so stem you remember for performing different functions, stem get modified into following form. First modification for the stem we study for the storage of food, and whenever stem undergoes for the storage of food, so basically you remember the underground stem is concerned with food storage. In underground stem there are four modification of the stem. First is tuber, example are important here, and second question is raised that why these are the modified stem. So tuber, you remember the common example for tuber is potato. Potato show the presence of axillary buds, and these axillary buds are commonly called as eyes of potato. So here you remember the potato is a modified stem mainly because of the presence of axillary buds, and it is modified in the form of tuber. The second modification is rhizome. Rhizome commonly appear in ginger and banana also. Clear, rhizome is also underground modified stem. Now why the rhizome is modified stem? Because the rhizomes clearly show the nodes and internodes, and over the nodes these structures you appear, these are the scale leaves or productive leaves. Secondly, if you appear the growth of rhizomes, so rhizome is always grow with the help of adventitious bud, and the growth of rhizome, you remember the rhizome is always growing in forward horizontally as well as forward in direction. So forward and horizontal growth is appear in rhizome. Now the corm, the structure wise corm and rhizome are exactly similar with there is no difference in the structure of rhizome and corm. The example for corm is colocasia, and when we study about the difference between rhizome and corm, so when one year this question also asked that how the rhizome differ from corm. So here you remember the rhizome is showing the growth horizontally upward, whereas corm whenever growing they grow only downwardly. Vertically downward growth is appear in corms on only in the pattern of growth. The rhizomes and corms are differ from each other. The fourth modification is bulb. Bulb is again the underground modified stem, this you remember, because the portion of bulb in the form of fleshy leaves, the fleshy leaves of onion stores the food. That part you actually in NCERT study in leaf modification. So sometime it causes a confusion. But you remember the bulb, onion and garlic are the modified underground stem. That modification is bulb. In bulb the main stem is highly reduced. This highly reduced stem is concentrically surrounded by the fleshy leaves, and the food in onion and garlic is predominantly stored inside the fleshy leaves. Secondly, for onion and garlic bulb when we study, remember one thing that bulb is tunicate bulb. In onion simple bulb is there because all the entire fleshy leaves are protected by single tunica. Whereas in garlic, the individual fleshy bud or individual fleshy leaf storing food protected by its own tunica or its own tunicate leaf. So this thing you remember for the storage of food or when the underground stem get modified for the food storage. Now the next modification, the stem is again modified for the support as well as for the protection. When we come towards the support, so predominantly you remember tendrils, the spring-like structure you observe in weak stem. So these spring-like structures are generally called as tendrils. Tendrils mainly responsible for providing support to the weak stems, and their examples are mainly important here. The gourd, cucumber, pumpkin, watermelon, these are the examples where the axillary bud of the axillary bud which present in the axis of leaf, that bud get modified into tendril and it responsible to provide a support to the weak stem. For the protection, when we come towards the modification, so thorns, don't be confused with spine. The spines are the modified leaves, whereas when we come towards the thorns, so thorns you remember these are the modified stem and the stem जो form हो रहे हैं thorns के form में, these thorns are produced by the modification of axillary buds. Thorns predominantly we appear in citrus and bougainvillea. So here don't be confused between spines and thorns. Thorns are the modification of axillary buds and spines are the modifications of leaves that we study in Opuntia. Now we come towards the modification of stem for the vegetative proportion as well as for spreading. In this part आप ये भी study कर सकते हैं in a reference book. If you go through the reference book, so you can observe that the subaerial and aerial stem. So here you remember basically this deals with the modification. So in some of the plant for pollination as well as for spreading into new niche, stem get modified. The stem may be subaerial or aerial stem. First you remember runners. Runners are predominantly present in grasses. Runners का meaning है stem is continuously growing in new niches and wherever the node come in contact with soil, from that node the pair of number of leaves and fibrous roots are produced. The older part of the stem become die and the new stem become spread into the newer niche. After that stolon and suckers most of the time causes a confusion. So while reading the things again, keep the reading properly. So stolon is predominantly present in jasmine and suckers are present in chrysanthemum. Other examples are provided there. These two are important example. Here you comparatively study the structure of suckers structure of stolon and suckers. Stolon means what kind of stem? In stolon, the basal part of the subaerial stem. Here you remember stolon are subaerial and suckers are underground stems होते हैं. So stolons you remember stolons, the lower end of the stem or base of the stem produces the new branches. These branches growing towards the downward or obliquely towards the soil, and as they comes in contact with soil they produces a new shoots or new branches which again start to grow upwardly. Whereas in case of suckers or in chrysanthemum, clear, the lower basal portion of the stem which is in contact with soil, that stem produces the branches. These branches also obliquely growing, but these branches obliquely growing towards the upward. So basic difference in both these structures you remember. Stolon produces the downwardly obliquely growing branches from the base of the stem which present above the soil. Here the base of the stem present inside the soil produces the oblique branches. These oblique branches comes in contact with soil and again produces the new stems in new niches. Now the one most important modification is offset. Offset we study in detail about the offset we study in detail in chapter 1 of your class 12th, that is a reproduction in organisms. So offset you remember, offset is a stem of single internode length is called as offset towards the both side of internode. Here you remember the both side of internode it is a swollen stem, and both side of the internode the leaves are arranged in rosette pattern and the huge fibrous roots are present. So to generally maintain the buoyancy of plant as well as to spread into new niche or to new habitats, offset are present. So the pair of plant reproduced by offset or the pair of plant show the presence of offset. For that purpose you remember Pistia and Eichhornia. Eichhornia commonly called as water hyacinth or terror of Bengal. So this much you remember. In addition to that, the Opuntia, one another example is provided for the modification of stem. So in Opuntia you remember, Opuntia the stem become modified into flat leaf-like structure, and that flat leaf-like structure of Opuntia is responsible for the synthesis of food. So for photosynthesis in Opuntia, Opuntia is a xerophytic plant. So in Opuntia the stem become a green color, flat and modify for the photosynthesis. Such modification of stem for photosynthesis is called as phylloclade. So in simply you remember phylloclade is present in Opuntia and that is a modified stem for the process of photosynthesis. Now we come towards the stem. For stem, this much part you remember for your revision purpose for the upcoming NEET examination. And now we come towards the leaf and its modification, venation and phyllotaxy. We come towards our next topic, that is leaf, and in this topic we study about morphology of leaf, and along with the structure of leaf we deals with venation of leaf, types of leaves, phyllotaxy in leaf, and finally the modification of leaf. So first we study what is leaf and what is the structure of leaf. As all you know, leaf is a photosynthetic part of the plant and it mainly responsible for the process of photosynthesis by which green plant prepare their food in the form of glucose. Now you remember, when we come towards the structure of leaf, a prominent leaf or one typical leaf in plant show the broad surface. That broad surface of the leaf is called as lamina. Petiole, one part we use for the leaf. It is a part of leaf with the help of which the leaf is attached with the main axis or twig or branch of the plant. So this part of the leaf is called as petiole. In the axis of the leaf, one bird is present. That bird is called axillary bird, and this axillary bird, you remember, either responsible for the production of flower or it will give rise to new branch. Now the margins, all of you know what does the term margin stand. So this part is showing the margin of leaf, and the margin of leaf may be smooth or it may be dented, and variety of forms will appear when we study separately about the margination in leaf. After that, this is the apex of the leaf, and this apex as well as the tip of the margin, you recall the phenomena of guttation. So guttation is mainly the process which we study in plant physiology along with transpiration, but the margins of leaves and apex of leaves, you remember, responsible for the unique phenomena guttation, and this apex may be extrose or introse. And secondly, over the surface of leaf, one prominent structure will appear exactly in the center of the leaf, that is called as midrib, and through this midrib the veins and veinlets, or you can simply say the fine network of vein is appear. So veins and veinlets or lateral veins are developed from this midrib. So this is all about the structure of leaf. In monocots or in Leguminosae family, you remember, or in legume plants, leaf show the base, bulbous base or swollen base आप कहते हैं. So generally at the base of the leaf, some swollen structures are present, and when the leaf base is swollen, such swollen leaf base are called as pulvinous. So in Leguminosae family, you remember, leaf base कैसे हैं अपने पास? The pulvinous leaf bases are present in Solanaceae family. In Leguminosae family. Okay. Now we come towards the types of leaves. There are two types of leaves, the simple and compound. Simple means simply you recall the plants which will appear, because this subject is mainly study along with the plant or along with the examples of the leaves with, instead of studying on the पेन पेंसिल मेथड से स्टडी करने से बेटर है कि आप उसको नेचर में ऑब्जर्व करें. सो बाय ऑब्जर्वेशन मेथड यू कैन इजीली अंडरस्टैंड ऑल दीज थिंग्स. सो सिंपल लीव्स, मैंगो लीफ आप अपियर कर रहे हो और द लीफ आई ड्रॉ हियर. चाइना रोज का लीफ आपका बना हुआ है एनसीईआरटी में फॉर दिस एक्सप्लेनेशन. सो लीफ इन चाइना रोज, पीपल, बनियन ट्री, मैंगो में जो लीफ आप अपियर कर रहे हैं दैट इज अ सिंपल लीफ, मीन्स अ ब्रॉड लीफ लेमिना इज प्रेजेंट, देन द लीफ इज कॉल्ड एज सिंपल लीफ. Compound leaf का meaning है when the leaf lamina show the reduction in size, then the leaf is called as compound leaf. The compound leaves are of two types, either it is a pinnate leaf or it is a palmate leaf. Pinnate leaf means, you remember, the leaf lamina number of time reduces, and according to that number of reduction, the pinnate leaf further be classified as unipinnate, bipinnate or multipinnate. As you appear the Avla tree, नीम लीव्स आपने अपीयर किए, मीठी नीम की लीव्स आप अपीयर करते हैं. ऑल दीज एग्जाम्पल्स आपके पास क्या है, पिन्नेट लीव्स. पिन्नेट लीव्स में बेसिकली याद रखिए व्हेन यू अपीयर द पिन्नेट लीव्स, so pinnate leaves may be peripinnate or imperipinnate depending on the number of leaflets. If the leaflets are even in number, then the pinnate leaf is called as peripinnate, and if odd number of leaflet, that means one leaflet is always present at the apex, then it is a imperipinnate. Secondly, you remember this excess over the large number of leaflets are present, this excess is called as rachis. So this much you remember for pinnate. Palmate leaf is present in silk cotton tree, that the reduction in leaf lamina begins, but that reduction is not reaches up to the midrib. So this part you remember, here the reduction of leaf lamina reaches it to the midrib, but when the midrib, when the leaf lamina not reduces up to the midrib, so nearly in the center of the leaves, all the leaves get connected and only palm-like structure is appear. Then the leaves are said to be palmate leaves. Now we come towards the next topic of topic for the leaf. That is a venation. Most important thing you remember, the two types of venation we appear, parallel venation and reticulate venation. When we study about the parallel and reticulate venation, for parallel venation you remember it is a characteristic feature of the monocots, whereas the reticulate venation is predominantly present in dicot plant. The parallel venation you can easily observe in banana leaf, that the one single midrib is present, and when all the veins are parallelly arranged, then it is called as parallel venation. Parallel venation as well as reticulate venation may be of convergent type or divergent type. And when we come towards the reticulate venation, reticulate means a fine network. So the arrangement of veins is present in such a way that it gives a fine network of veins and veinlets. Then it is called as reticulate venation. Peepal tree is one of the good example. Peepal leaf is one of the good example for reticulate venation. And dicot leaf, if you observe any leaf with reticulate venation, that means you remember that leaf कैसे है आपके पास, that leaf belongs to the dicot plant. Now we come towards the phyllotaxy. Phyllotaxy का meaning you recall. The phyllotaxy means the arrangement of leaves on a main axis or shoot. That arrangement of leaves is called as phyllotaxy, and there are three kinds of phyllotaxy in plant: alternate, or it is also called as spiral, opposite and whorl. Whorl phyllotaxy is a question for Elstonia, already asked in before last 1 or 2 year examination. So you go through the last 3 or 4 year NEET papers, so you can find this question for the Elstonia or phyllotaxy. Okay, alternate phyllotaxy becomes, alternate means when one leaf is developed from the each node, then the phyllotaxy is called as alternate. So as in shown in diagram, from every node one leaf is developed, and at what level or what angle these leaves are produces, according to that spiral phyllotaxy further divided into a number of categories, but that we are not going to discuss here. Now the opposite you remember, opposite phyllotaxy is divided into two categories further or types: opposite superposed and opposite decussate. For NEET exam, opposite decussate and example Tulsi. Calotropis also show the opposite decussate, but Tulsi you remember the classical example. So opposite first we discuss about superposed. Superposed का meaning है कि when the leaves are oppositely present to each other in each and every node. So every node show this kind of arrangement of leaf opposite to each other, then it is called as opposite superposed. But when we come towards the opposite decussate means you remember the every pair of leaf whenever comes, the new coming pair of leaf always develop at the 90 degree or right angle to the first pair of leaf. So this diagram is, to draw that type of diagram is quite difficult here. So I explain in this way only कि suppose the first pair of leaf is present at longitudinal axis. So the next pair of leaf is opposite pair of leaf is developed on the transverse axis. Then again next pair is a pair on the longitudinal. So every pair whenever develop at its 90 degree axis or right angle to the prior leaf pair. then it is called as opposite decussate. This thing you remember very well. Now we come towards the whorl. Whorl when we define, in opposite a pair of leaf is developed, in alternate only single leaf is developed from every node, but in whorl when more than two leaves are developed from each and every node, then this phyllotaxy is called as whorl. The Elstonia, or in Hindi it is called as Saptaparni also. So Elstonia, you remember Elstonia show the presence of 7 leaves from each and every node. So that thing you remember here, 6 I draw. So 7 leaves are present. So 7 leaves are present. That's why the name is Elstonia is Saptaparni also. So Elstonia show the 7 leaves from each and every node. So that is the whorl phyllotaxy. Okay. Now we come towards the leaf modification. Only few modifications we study here. So tendrils in peas. Now we already study what is tendrils. Tendrils we study in stem modification also. So in Cucurbitaceae family, tendrils are the modifications of stem. But in pea or Leguminaceae family, if you remember, so in pea tendrils are the modification of leaves and mainly for the support. Now the spines in cactus. Cactus commonly हम किन categories के plant को कह रहे हैं? Xerophytic plant. So in mostly xerophytic plant opensia already हम study कर चुके हैं. In case of stem modification, so in opensia also you remember whatever leaves spines we appear, or in cactus whenever we appear a spines, aloe vera आप commonly appear करते हैं. In that plant also you appear a spine on the surface of leaf like structure. So that you remember the spines are the modification. Spines किसके modification है cactus में? They are the modifications of leaf. And why these spines are produced in cactus? The leaf get modified into spine for reducing the rate of transpiration, because cactus are basically xerophytic plant. So the protection of water or the prevention of water loss is the first requirement for the plant. So here you remember these spines are mainly developed to decrease the rate of transpiration. Now the most important for your NEET exam again. The example is Australian acacia. Australian acacia you remember phyllodes करके भी question आपको आ सकता है. So phyllodes means you remember petiole यहाँ present है. So here the lamina of this leaf is very broad, but in Australian acacia the true leaves or Australian acacia are very small and only remain for a very short duration of time. So in that condition you remember the petiole, ये जो actual leaf like structure आपको appear हो रहा है, originally this is the petiole. So in Australian acacia petiole get modified into leaf, and that petiole you remember that petiole is present in the form of sickle shaped leaf like structure, and that is called as phyllodes. So Australian acacia you remember original leaves are very small and the petiole get modified into the leaf like structure for the process of photosynthesis. The fourth again most important one is the pitcher. Already आप study कर चुके हैं in class 10th also. Insectivorous plant. So in insectivorous plant to kill the pitcher commonly हम study करते हैं pitcher plant और Nepenthes. Some another plants are also there. Drosera, Venus flytrap, Putricularia. Number of insectivorous plants are there. So particularly in Nepenthes you remember the leaf get modified into pitcher-like structure to trap the insect for fulfilling the nitrogen deficiency. So these are the modification. When you study or revise about the leaf, remember you very well revise the phyllotaxy, you very well revise the Australian acacia as well as pitchers in insectivorous plant. Spines को याद रखिएगा. In cactus spines are the modifications of leaf. So these some of the things you remember very well, and again number of time repeatedly in my every class I am every time requesting students to go through the preparation of chart and prepare your topics with the help of chart, because not only study is important, study के साथ साथ आपको smartly study करना भी required है. Only आप बुक से पढ़ रहे हैं, कंटिन्यूसली पढ़ रहे हैं, 10 hours 12 hours पढ़ रहे हैं, बट आप उसको प्रॉपरली ऑर्गेनाइज नहीं कर रहे हैं अपनी स्टडीज को. स्मार्टली वर्क अगर आप नहीं कर पा रहे हैं, सो क्वाइट आप दो यू स्टडी मोर, वर्क आप बहुत ज्यादा कर रहे हैं, मेहनत भी आप बहुत ज्यादा कर रहे हैं, बट समटाइम इट हैपेंस कि रिजल्ट आर नॉट coming as compared to that टाइम विच वी प्रोवाइडेड फॉर द स्टडी। तो उसके लिए बेटर है कि आप थोड़ा स्मार्ट वर्क करिए, प्री प्लान रहिए, व्हाट टॉपिक्स वी गो फॉर स्टडी फर्स्ट, वो आप अपनी लिस्ट प्रिपेयर करिए, अपनी वीकनेस को फाइंड आउट करिए, अपनी स्ट्रेंथ को फाइंड आउट करिए। जो वीकनेस है उसको थोड़ा टाइम दीजिए, क्योंकि आपके पास आपको गोल्डन चांस मिल गया है ये टाइम। तो यहाँ पर ये सब आप अपीयर करिए पहले, एंड देन यू गो थ्रू योर स्टडी, एंड बाय दैट टाइम कीप विद अस, subscribe my channel, like my videos, and again comment for the questions whatever I am asking in the beginning of the class as a quiz form, and stay blessed and stay motivated. Thank you.